Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. First leg is Paul to throw first. Game on.
And it is the Asset who'll kick things off. First to 7 for a place in the final of the Gibraltar Darts Trophy to face the best player in the world, Michael van Gerwen. Chris Murphy in the comms box alongside me, Dan Dawson.
Paul Nicholson straight into the red bit with dart number 1 in this semi-final. A long time coming for him. A long time coming for Adrian Lewis too, certainly on the European tour. It's been over 3 years for Jack Puck to reach this stage in a European tour event.
96.
Admittedly, haven't seen an awful lot of him in the last couple of years on the Euro Tour, but he's shown signs, as you mentioned, Dan, on the floor of a return to form. He's been one of the top players and unlucky not to have won a title, I'd suggest, in 2018. Could he do it on the Euro Tour? They're probably the unlikeliest place for Adrian Lewis to win.
Well, let's put it this way. Adrian Lewis,
100.
the European champion in 2013. That was his 3rd major title. It was the year after he won his 2nd world title. He did not even qualify for the European Championship for the last 2 years. That is because
95.
he's either been not bothered to play Euro Tours, or he's not qualified for them, or when he has qualified, he hasn't done enough. And for a player of his talent and his ability, which he's been showing consistently this year, many people will say that's not good enough. Well, the jackpot we're seeing in 2018 is good enough, and he's good enough to win things, and he's good enough to potentially win major titles. Both he and James Wade have come storming back into form this year.
140.
And they both look like they are playing title-winning darts, and they certainly showed it in their incredible clash, which has got to be the game of the weekend so far.
What a start this could be. What a start it would be.
142.
What a start it almost was for Adrian Lewis.
Uruguay,
Narrowly missing the bullseye for a big 167 checkout. And now Nicholson stepping forward to try and hang on to his throw early doors in this semi-final. He's going to get a dart. It's a better dart, the big 14, than one we saw earlier on.
74.
It's not a good dart, double 16. And Lewis has a chance to draw first blood.
Shot on the first leg, Adrian Lewis.
And that is exactly what happens with a 14-dart break of throw in the opener.
Interesting looking back at the head-to-head between this pair, because they do have a little bit of history. Some rather high-profile, bad-tempered affairs, not least the
96.
World Cup of Darts final. The one that got away for Paul Nicholson and his partner Simon Whitlock. Every player on the stage had darts to win in 2012, but Adrian Lewis, the then world champion, got the job done. However, wins against Adrian Lewis have been quite significant,
100.
quite pivotal in the career of Paul Nicholson. He beat him at his first world championship back in 2008. He also beat him en route to picking up his Players' Championship victory
140.
in 2010, and in the final of one of his 3 Pro Tour victories.
So what you're saying is when Nicholson does beat Lewis, it's a big one.
Yeah, it's an important one.
140.
And in those World Cup of Darts matches, the one in the final in 2012 and the then semi-final in 2014, Nicholson actually beat Adrian Lewis both times in the singles matches. 5 times he's beaten Adrian Lewis. He has lost 6 times.
Yeah, Adrian Lewis, remember, I mean, he's got 4
43.
major titles on his own. He's got 4 World Cup of Darts titles as well, playing with Phil Taylor. The 4 for England was equalled by the Netherlands this year, but only Raymond van Barneveld has been in that Dutch side for all 4 of those victories. Koos Stompie was his partner the first year.
100.
Incidentally, that semi-final match when Paul Nicholson met Adrian Lewis in the singles and, of course, in the doubles at the World Cup of Darts in 2014 was the last time Nicholson played in any semi-final.
140.
It was a longer format, wasn't it, than we see nowadays?
61.
Yeah, almost to the day, actually, the 8th of June 2014.
Oh, yes, it was the previous World Cup in the longer format, wasn't it? That's right. Now, Nicholson needed the 51 for a go at the bull, but he could well come back, and he certainly asked the question of Adrian Lewis here.
Well, bullseye will be the first target. If it's a 25, which he does. It's 17 for double top.
Yeah, shot the second
Important
leg.
stuff.
Adrian Lewis.
Quality stuff from Adrian Lewis, denying
leg is
Nicholson a
pulled
chance
through
at
first.
24
Game on.
and doubling his lead. All well and good hitting doubles early on in the piece against Paul Nicholson
91.
today, but try and do it in a last leg decider.
Well, Gerwyn Price couldn't do it. He had 6 goes, missed them all. Joe Cullen couldn't do it. He had 3 goes and missed them all.
By that reckoning,
100.
Adrian Lewis is going to miss 12 darts in a last leg shootout here in Gibraltar. But what a tournament this has been.
Oh, just stories everywhere. May not be the biggest crowds on the Euro Tour. Maybe the smallest venue. But my word, has it had some narrative over the years?
I'll tell you what, they've turned out tonight.
They have. Packed to the rafters.
140.
Nicholson trying to turn it on. The 180 gets him in a good position. You feel he just has to halt the charge of Adrian Lewis here. Lewis has come through a ridiculously tough section of the draw. He's seen off Suljevic,
45.
Wade and Wright to book his place in the semi-final.
Yeah, 3 top 10 players.
He is to go and win the tournament. He's going to beat,
43.
apart from the first round when he met the novice Gibraltarian qualifier Clayton Otten, you're going to have to beat a major champion at every stage after that.
I mean, in qualifying, he beat Josh Payne, who's been in great form. He won a Pro Tour title this year. And Ricky Evans, who's been playing some really good darts of late as well.
100.
I mean, this has been a tough route to this stage of the tournament for Adrian Lewis.
That's a tough watch for Adrian
70.
Lewis until the
All
final
you
dart.
want, 85.
Went somewhere to salvaging the situation, but Paul Nicholson can put this leg to bed here. Oh, I suggest he has to go for the 20 and then the bullseye. Not sure where he went there.
Neither's he.
73. Adrian 148.
148 for Adrian Lewis, not going to go. And Nicholson to halve the deficit.
94.
See in the background once again
All you
the
want, 12.
deep breath, perhaps a spot of visualization. And the outcome is a long way out. On the wrong side. This is getting tricky.
Okay, shot on the third leg.
Once
Paul
again,
Nicholson.
last start in hand.
Well, I
That's
think
been a
it's
habit
Adrian
for Paul
to throw first.
Nicholson this
Game on.
weekend.
Yeah, he has had more than his fair share of fortune.
60.
But it should be pointed out that he's had to be there to take the chances that have been afforded him. And he's had to show an incredible amount of guts to come through the games that he has. I mean, Gerwyn Price, a lot will be made of Gerwyn Price missing 6 match darts, but he was 5-2 down in that game to Paul Nicholson. Paul Nicholson looked like he had that game wrapped up, and it all got very, very stressful.
140.
I've lost count of the number of times this weekend Paul Nicholson has gone 60, 60, and then the last dart has not been able to nestle in there. And he's got a little bit frustrated with it at times, you can see. But the new improved, calm
76.
Paul Nicholson is just trying to...
Never been, has he, the big 180 hitter. Even in his heyday, he was always a 140 man. But that's the kind of thing that he's trying to change with this new rhythm that he's trying to bring into his game.
57.
Yeah, he's been saying, hasn't he? He's focusing on the rhythm. Less about where the darts are landing in practice, just trying to get in that repeatable, metronomic rhythm
like this.
140.
And you do think that perhaps that is part of the reason why he's able to hold it together in pressure situations, as we've seen a number of times this weekend, because the actual timing of the visit, that metronomic action, the same amount of time for each throw.
100.
It's just one thing.
You require 85.
One fewer thing to go wrong.
Well, if you've got some kind of routine to rely on, takes away a little bit of the mental pressure, doesn't it?
Yeah, he's on the fourth
The
leg.
pressure is being
Adrian
piled
Lewis.
on Paul Nicholson,
Fifth leg is pulled
by
to throw
Adrian
first.
Lewis.
Game on.
who is carrying on the form that we've seen and that you've seen on the floor events. We stream all of them on PDC TV now. No need to miss a dart on the PDC Pro Tour. And if you've been watching, you'll know that Adrian Lewis has been one of the top dogs.
97.
Yeah, if you want to know just how impressive it's been, just go to the Dart Connect system. Have a look. Players' Championship Series, the Tour leaderboard. There are only 4
51.
players who are throwing higher averages than Adrian Lewis over the course of all those events. The world #1 Michael van Gerwen, the world champion Rob Cross, the 2-time world champion Gary Anderson, and Stokes #1 Ian White. Stokes #1, of course, a title that Adrian
60.
Lewis had to relinquish following his early exit at the World Championship, being superseded by his good mate and often his practice partner in the diamond, Ian White.
Yeah, he's gone missing from a few things, Adrian Lewis. Of
42.
course, the World Cup, the Premier League, but a big run, perhaps a title on the European Tour, might start making the selection panels stand up and take notes.
Well, I think over and above whether Adrian Lewis was to go on and claim this title, it would be his 2nd European Tour title. He won in the very
85.
first year we had the European Tour, and it's this incarnation back in 2012, before they were even streamed. If he were, it would be a signal that he is back in form. But we already know that. We're seeing that on the
83.
floor events. And with all the big events coming up, you know, the match play over the summer, the Grand Prix and the Grand Slam, the Players' Championship finals at the back end of the year.
But he could yet sneak him back into the top 16 before the World Match Play and get himself
100.
a seeding.
25 grand won't do him any harm.
Might want to get a little bit above 16 if he does plan on doing that, because he'd be
140.
poised to meet Michael van Gerwen in the 2nd round.
Adrian Lewis, currently 19th in the world, and only 17.5 grand behind Darren Webster in 16th place. Now, of course, there's money coming off and
97.
all sorts of things, and Darren Webster's been here this weekend, although he hasn't picked up any ranking money because he went out in the 2nd round. So it's not as simple as add 25 and then see how far he jumps up. There's a few
40.
permutations.
Yeah, and
Well,
about
it
6
was
tournaments
62.
in between as well, isn't there? A couple of Pro Tour double headers and 2 more European Tour events.
But theoretically, Adrian Lewis could go up to somewhere around the 14-15 mark if he were to win this tournament here.
Yeah, he's on the 5th leg.
Nicholson
Paul Nicholson.
Is
Fifth
not
leg is
going
Adrian
down
throw
without a
first.
fight.
Game on.
Paul Nicholson is making a good fist of making sure he doesn't have
96.
to return to Q School as well. He's 69th in the world at the moment, Paul Nicholson. On a free roll this year because it was the start of last year when he regained his tour card. So no money to defend after starting from scratch, and
100.
almost inevitable now that he'll be inside the top 64 at the end of that period.
Well, and we do see it. We see players, they start to win,
60.
whether it be individual matches or entire tournaments, and it continues to happen. They go through spells. They go through spells of form. The confidence is built up. They start believing in themselves. Just the very basic things like, you know, they're winning because they're
78.
throwing better. They've got their action sorted. They're injury-free, which has been a problem for Paul Nicholson in the past.
And Nicholson is a man who literally did stop believing. He was looking for jobs, wasn't he? Not so long ago, before he went to Q School 18 months ago.
He was going to work in a bar. A major champion in
87.
this sport was looking for bar work.
There's certainly life in him as a darts player yet. commentary and the punditry
58.
a sideline to Paul Nicholson. Professional dart player, #1 priority. Is he going to be a champion again?
140.
Now you look at the 19s here, Paul Nicholson. 5 of them will leave him a finish at 170. There's 3 of them.
$95.
And he does come away.
118.
5 19s, 95 leaves the 170. Lewis going the correct route for 118, but not able to execute
58.
it.
All you require
Paul
170.
Nicholson executes the biggest finish of the lot. Might be a real tide turner. Not to be. 60 for Adrian Lewis is a tricky finish.
65.
That's
Adrian
because his
requires
darts
60.
stand up. So he wants his first one to be out of the way. Having to move himself out of the way.
Finish on the sick leg. Adrian Lewis.
Managed to
Shot
actually
leg is
use that as
full
a
to throw
guide.
first. Game on.
He just looks so relaxed this weekend, Adrian.
140.
Yeah,
Jovial jackpot most of the time.
Well, it's nice to see, though, isn't it? I mean, at times he'd been turning up all the way through last year when we did see
93.
him because of, his injury problems. His wife was very ill. There was a lot of stress going on in Adrian Lewis's life, and people kept telling him, "You've not been playing enough tournaments. You've not been winning enough. You're in danger of slipping out the top 16 if you have a bad Worlds."
180.
A rally back from Paul Nicholson. This time he does find all 3 in the treble 20 bed.
100.
Michael van Gerwen fired shots in his interview, didn't he, earlier on after the quarter-final, saying that it's nice to see Adrian Lewis on the stage. He's not used to it. You mentioned the potential of a final against Jackpot. Very tidy leg this from Paul Nicholson.
122.
Cursed that just before he missed the 15s, but it leaves him 59. I'm not sure he'll take this out in quite as comedy fashion as the 58 he took out
117.
against Gerwin Price
All you
in the
require
quarterfinals.
59.
But it has been a weekend of surprises.
Well, it's going to be treble 19 for double 1, surely. No chance of that. That one took a nosedive, but he's got time on his side.
Yes, on the 7 leg.
Paul
Paul
Nicholson just keeps
8 leg is
himself
Adrian to throw
close
first. Game on.
to Adrian Lewis, who has been an enemy over the years.
Yeah, and a 12 darter for Nicholson there drags his average up to the mid-90s. You see
96.
best leg of the match. Average just shy of 95. That's pretty much level pegging with Adrian. Jackpot not producing the high-octane stuff we saw from her against James Wade.
You think if Paul Nicholson is to turn this around, he'll need to enter that invincible zone that he said he had
58.
against Dave Chisnell.
See, it's just dropped with that visit to 92.5. Jackpot's still around that 95 mark.
43.
Flicked off the flight and into the treble 1.
He is a bloke from Stoke.
The only bloke left from Stoke in this tournament.
140.
Could be a crucial leg, this. Adrian Lewis making it more comfortable for himself now.
140.
Will be the 19s for Paul Nicholson here.
A couple of times he's been really, really high in that segment. That's probably why he decided to get away from
99.
it.
58.
Had to stay there, Adrian Lewis. To leave himself that 164, but Paul Nicholson now has a real opportunity to make a dent in this and put some pressure on the Lewis throw. An opportunity he seems to be taking.
And the bigger the dent, the bigger the
180.
chance.
Adrian
And that is as
164.
big a dent as he could put in it. And Paul Nicholson might be about to break back and level this semi-final up.
We said he'd have to get in that
89.
zone. It was a dozen dart leg
24.
last time out. Here, looking at 13 to break. And that's
There's
exactly
Johnny
what he
Leg.
does.
Paul
And Paul Nicholson
Ninth leg is pulled
is
to throw
effectively
first. Game on.
in pole position to cross the finish line first.
And he has just won the last 2 legs in only 25 darts.
$60.
Trying to keep himself calm, not let the occasion get to him. You think that is what happened in the quarter-final against Gerwyn Price.
139.
Realised the enormity of what he was doing. And truth be told, managed to fall over the line with a little help from the Iceman.
Oh, the Iceman did everything but pick Nicholson up and throw him over the
100.
finishing line.
But here, it's been Nicholson clinging on, and then when the chance arrived to level up, the chance that he took.
140.
Well, the finishing from these two has been great all weekend. You know, Adrian came into this hitting more than half his darts at double. Nicholson was over the 40%. 40% is kind of what these guys expect of themselves. That's the minimum they want. But if they are hitting the 40%,
128.
they'll be pretty happy with themselves. And in this game, it is 50% for Paul Nicholson. Lewis has only missed 1 dart at double in the entire semi-final so far.
140.
The response to the break from the 2-time world champion. Will it be 2 men in the final who have a brace of world titles to their name? Or can Paul Nicholson?
Should come down for the 19s.
139. Adrian 82.
Well, it's perfectly poised, this leg. Nothing in it, but Adrian Lewis has the first go. He's availed himself 2 darts at double 16. Now 1 at double 8.
66.
And both of those have been squandered.
All you require 74.
When the asset has been given help in this tournament, he's taken full advantage.
This is enormous.
$54.
He didn't move then,
Adrian requires
and it
16.
looked as if that flicked off the flight and diverted it from its path towards the double top.
Oh my word, you don't get too much closer.
Yes,
And that
on the
one
ninth
is in.
leg, Adrian Lewis. 10 leg is
3
Adrian to throw first.
fantastically thrown darts
Game
there
on.
from Adrian Lewis, but only one of them. Ah, it's Tony Dawkins. Man we've seen in action here in Gibraltar, made his debut. He's the head of the Gibraltar Darts Association. Retired school teacher. El
125.
Absolutely loved his experience here this weekend. Oh, hello. Adrian's busting some moves there, I think.
I'm not sure what that was all about, but Paul Nicholson was just about to throw at that point.
100.
Sure if he was aware of Adrian Lewis's attempt at, well, I'm not quite sure what he was attempting, to be honest.
No, I'm going to write a sternly worded
125.
letter to my MP to try and stop darts players dancing, because there's been far too much of it lately, and some of it, to be honest, is offensive.
I've seen one of Nicholson doing the rounds on social media.
Saturday night, yeah, oh yeah. Is it Saturday Night Fever?
140.
Will he be dancing in the streets tonight?
137.
Adrian Lewis just starting to pull away again, and if he manages to win this leg, he's only 1 from booking a place in the final against a world number 1. The asset needs a treble.
91.
Gets one.
Adrian Uruguay 114.
Lewis shaking his head before attempting double top. He
74.
knew he kind of blocked his route there.
170.
Nicholson missed the dart to win the last leg. That 74 checkout could not be completed. That would have been huge. Just get the feeling the run
130.
could be coming to an end. But he's left it handy just in case. Full credit to Paul Nicholson there.
He will not stop fighting. He's averaging 97 in this game, Paul Nicholson. But he has to win 3 legs on the spin now. He has the throw in 2 of them. It can be done. Adrian Lewis is a man who has been pipped in the semi-finals of this tournament and deciding leg by an unseeded player in Jamie Lewis.
140.
That was a few years ago, the year that Phil Taylor went on and won the title.
Well, you saw Paul Nicholson place 2 perfect darts in the treble 20 and missed with the 3rd.
140.
Adrian Lewis does the same. He wants a comfortable leg here, doesn't he, Paul Nicholson? Just to keep himself in contention and then throw everything at Adrian Lewis against the throat. In leg 12.
140.
Well, credit to Paul Nicholson, because just when you think he is done and the run is coming to an end, he finds something to just keep himself in it. And it's been enough all the way through this weekend.
81.
Until this point. Is it still going to be enough?
Well, I promise that it won't be down to lack of preparation. One thing that Paul Nicholson has always prided himself on is trying to get that little edge with his diet, with his exercise, with his mental training that he does, all geared up to being fitter, stronger, mentally tougher for days like this. And they haven't come along very often for Paul Nicholson.
Yeah, but he has constantly tried to keep himself fit and ready if the opportunity arises. The opportunity has arisen today, and he's doing everything he can to take it. But Adrian Lewis's first 180 of this semi-final may spell the end.
Had this finish earlier on. It was huge. 11 for the bull. Bullseye to stay alive. What a shot that is from Paul Nicholson. The asset is at it. He's still fighting. He's fighting fit.
Game on.
And Adrian Lewis, a fist pump for Paul Nicholson there. A show of respect, because that took guts.
That is top quality from Paul Nicholson. 180 from Lewis to leave himself
60.
a 2-darter for the match. And he pins 1-2-1 on the bull. The average now for Nicholson is up towards 100.
It's his best performance of the weekend, and the cry of 60 from Kirk Bevins would have been music to the ears of the assets. We said
100.
to throw everything at Adrian Lewis in this leg. He's outscored him at the first turn.
$85.
Very interesting, Dan. Very interesting indeed.
Yet again, we've got an absolutely absorbing game.
Is it written in the stars above the sky of Gibraltar?
100.
But Paul Nicholson is going to do something that he didn't think he could do. He said he's not going to quit until he does do something
137.
he didn't think he'd do. 7 years to the day since his last title. Does another one beckon?
It would be hilarious if Paul Nicholson did find a way to win this, beat Michael van Gerwen in the final, then immediately announce his
92.
retirement, saying that I've done something now that I didn't think I could do. That's as good as it's going to get.
Well,
Ta-ra.
it might be about to slip away now, because Lewis is going to be down
Oh.
to a lovely, lovely checkout.
177.
These two have put on an incredible semi-final so far. And Adrian Lewis is going to get darts for a spot in the final.
Nicholson,
81.
well, they would have wanted better than that.
42.
Survived 3 match darts against Joe Cullen in the last 16. Survived 6 match darts against Gerwin Price in the quarterfinals.
24.
And Adrian Lewis has squandered 2 in this semi-final. Now, Nicholson in the last leg took out 121 on the bullseye. That took guts. That was brilliant. This would be incredible.
Treble 20 and bull. Bullseye! Oh my days, what is happening?
Paul Nicholson.
Back to back, ton-plus finishers on the
30,
bullseye.
final
And Paul
leg,
Nicholson
Paul to throw first.
may have just become
Game
the
on.
favourite for this semi-final.
What a performance. Adrian Lewis confused, bemused. Well, you see that the contrast in approaches between that pair there. A brilliant picture. Lewis in a daze, rattled by Nicholson, who's trying to calm himself down and get on with the task of winning a last leg decider for the
140.
third consecutive match. This time he has the darts, hoping to deny Adrian Lewis further darts for the place in the final and the right to take on the world number 1, Michael van Gerwen.
96.
He has had luck today, Paul Nicholson. We can't deny that. But the last 2 legs, those last 2 finishers, deserve a place in the final on their own.
Look, this has shades of Max Hopp in Saarbrücken. Averaging round about that 100 mark and taking out a succession of clutch finishes under the most enormous pressure to do something that people did not think could happen. And it may not happen yet.
Well, the 1-2-1 came after Adrian Lewis had fired in a maximum, his first of the match, to leave himself handily placed in that leg. The 1-2-8 came after Adrian Lewis had fired in a 1-7-7 and then missed 2 darts for the match. Lewis has become the favourite once again.
Well,
Paul Nicholson, you can see the reaction there.
there are players who, when they've done what Adrian Lewis has done in this game and seen Paul Nicholson pull out the 2 biggest
123.
checkouts of the match to save his skin, they would have crumbled at this point. They thought, well, I can't win this. But Adrian Lewis has just kept on.
Well, it's chucked in a 180 followed by a 1-2-3, but it's that dart in the treble 1 that could make a lot of difference. If Paul Nicholson can find a finish here.
Oh, no. He won't, will he? Oh,
65.
I thought he was going to leave the 170.
But Lewis is going to get more match darts. Might get one in this visit. If not, he'll definitely get one in the next. Or some in the next. Does get one here. Is this the end for the Aztecs?
62.
Not quite yet.
It has been an astonishing weekend watching Paul Nicholson. Every single game has been superb entertainment value.
140.
And is it over yet?
140.
Double top for Adrian Lewis to make the final. Jackpot is back. We've been telling you for weeks, months, that he's been playing world-class darts, and he has held off and inspired Paul Nicholson. A magnificent semi-final, both men averaging round about 99. Nicholson, some stunning moments in that match, as well as the whole weekend.